Are you seeing a lot of automation as a way to improve data quality?
There are a ton of tools out there, and I wouldn't call it automation. I think I see a lot of tools that help with analyzing and suggesting next steps, but to actually update it, other than adding address data, not so much. No, but actually, one thing you just mentioned, the sentiment from the cases to have the sentiment around a case or opportunity or something like that is that's I've seen it also like recently for not sure if I'm allowed to call the company name here, but the Best Force Tech, they're also a Dutch and NL-based company, and they use an assessment tool like an AI tool where you have an assessment conversation like this, but there's an AI tool behind it, and it's really cool because while you're having the conversation, you get feedback also about the sentiment and all that. I'm like, this is really cool because I did not pick up on a few things that this AI agent now picked up on. So I think that's really cool if you want to put it under automation. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. And I think it's really interesting, these sort of sheer real time input and feedback output that's coming out of these AI tools. We've recently extended what we're doing in Salesforce to telephony. So I can actually give you a number you can call and talk with your Salesforce data and with knowledge articles and things like that. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of emphasis on bringing AI to the user instead of asking user to go to the AI, right? Reaching out to your customers, partners, and your internal users where they are at. So whether you use AI from Microsoft Copilot, Teams, Slack, or Salesforce, wherever you use it,
Hmm.
how do we extend what we have out into those areas? Because we do all of that today, because I think user adoption is the sword on which AI dies. You can solve the technical problems, right? It's easier to, for at least for people like us, it's easier to build technology and deploy things. But at the end of the day, if there's not enough uptake, you've made a dish that nobody wants to eat.
Yeah. That's actually interesting. Making a dish no one wants to eat. Usually, I would then say you shouldn't have made the dish to begin with. And I think that's it. That's exactly where I've been involved in a few projects, and one of them in particular was we spent months on building something. And the first demo we did to sort of the group of key users or key stakeholders, within 5 minutes, we stopped the demo because they said, this is nowhere near what we asked or what we wanted or what we need. You didn't listen. Well, we built exactly what we thought was asked. But what as a team, it was a really large team for a really large company. And I was added a bit later on. And I'm like, okay, just build this. These requirements have been gathered already. Let's just do this. What kind of forgot to do is ask the noisy people, the let's say the annoying people. Everyone knows you have annoying people in your team, in your company, in your project team. Ask them because they will be able to give you the input you need to cook a dish that people want. And that's, I think, part of the, let's say, part of the user adoption process involve, including the early naysayers, not the early adopters, involve them as well. And it's funny because that's not something you can really automate. It's really that human interaction to, first of all, know what people really want and need. And often you don't hear that even in official meetings. You hear that when you go during your lunch break, going for a walk, standing at the coffee machine, or maybe going out for dinner and drinks with them afterwards. That's where you often hear those things. And sorry, I can keep going for about half an hour. Let's not do that. That's where it starts with getting those gathering those requirements, and just during the entire process, keep that human touch and keep checking on, is this what you want? Is this what you need? And if we build this, do you see the added value of that? And that last thing is so important because you can make amazing things. No one sees the value. Your efficient tool is not going to help anyone.
Very well said, Andre. And I think what we are seeing with a lot of our customers is the urge, the sort of impetus now to involve end users much earlier. And particularly with I think that is super important. When we talk to customers, I actually ask them in the second or third meeting if they can bring someone who represents the end user. Because traditionally, IT was doing things and it worked. But with AI, all of a sudden you have this completely new dimension that you're trying to get into. It works differently, it gives results differently, it is multimodal. I can enable it with speech, with text, with imagery, with files. So the ability to really craft something that your end users will find value in requires a slightly different mindset, in my opinion, than how we've been doing business in the past. Are you seeing that in cooking a dish that no one would eat?
Yeah. No, indeed, it is slowly changing, but I would say not fast enough. Because a lot of the companies that we deal with have been around for a long time. The people there have been around for a long time. And then for us to come in and say, oh, you need to do this, and you, a lot of times there's the awareness, just like with data quality. For the last 100 years, there was the awareness that the data needs to be good. But only in the last few years, a lot of companies started acting on it. And I think it's the same with this, let's say, new approach to, let's say, change management, user adoption.
True. I would agree. I think it's interesting that you put it that way because we have had the knowledge. We've not realized it up until now. Right? Now there's this realization like we need to do these things because otherwise our initiatives, particularly around AI, are not going to give the kind of results that we are expecting.